Hey, what's up everybody? How's it going today? So, Darling is a movie that one of my subscribers actually requested me to do, and I'm paraphrasing, but their comment basically said, I'm not sure how to feel about this movie, whether it's fucking awesome or a total piece of shit. And after watching it, I can totally understand that viewpoint. However, I think I fall in the category of, I respect the attempt, but at the same time, I feel like there was some misfire, so I feel like I'm probably in the same boat, kinda. Like, metaphorically speaking, this movie really did aim for the fences, but in all reality, it hit the fence, so they didn't quite get the home run. But also, the outfielder didn't catch the ball, so it gave the runner some time to get to either second or third base. So basically it accomplished something, but it didn't change the scoreboard, if that makes any sense. And the movie's basically about a young lady who gets hired by an older lady to house sit for her. And obviously she's by herself, so a bunch of freaky weird shit starts to happen, and that's basically your movie. Now, some things this movie did right was the fact that it chose to be in black and white. Because this movie's only a couple years old, so when a movie chooses to be in black and white, it's usually for a good reason, and I think that was implemented correctly. Because there's a lot of shit you can do with like shadows, and the whole thing just feels a lot less vibrant and a little bit more eerie, I feel like. Also, something that I really fucking respected was that, and I won't give away how much, but there's like a certain amount of imagery in it that's not scary, but the way that it's edited, it turns it into a scare. Because there will be a scene or two where you're watching something like totally basic happen where nothing actually is happening, but atmospherically it turned it into a scare, and I thought that was actually kind of brilliant. And ultimately I think it helped the movie because it is kind of a slow flick, but these little edits happen often enough that it like keeps your attention despite the fact that not a lot is going on. But without narration, you don't know exactly what's going on in her head, and that involves an element of mystery, and that makes it slightly more creepy. And it kind of adds to the way I think the director was kind of trying to make this female feel very out of place. And I thought he did that very well. The sound editing and mixing, or whatever you want to call it, is kind of hit or miss though, because there are many times throughout the movie where it just creates this super tense atmosphere where there's no music, but there's just sounds that I thought were fucking great. But then there's other times where I thought it was either a little bit too loud or a little bit too in your face and not as like nuanced, I guess you could say. It worked a lot better when it was subtle is what I'm trying to say. It's like this movie was trying to tell you a secret and it was whispering, and then it just randomly yells at you and then goes right back to whispering. So that was a little annoying, and that kind of leads into some of the negatives about the movie. The music was really good for the most part, but there was like 2 or 3 scenes where I thought it was just way too out of place and it just didn't make sense, or it was just too loud. And for horror movies, I think music is probably one of the most crucial things about it. Because in a lesser movie, if there was a scene where you thought like maybe a ghost was gonna pop out and then some smooth avant-garde jazz is playing in the background, it's not that intimidating. And the movie's a little bit too derivative at times. Like, the movie clearly jacked the plot for The Shining, and I got a very Rosemary's Baby kind of vibe and the whole psychological aspect about it. The movie did have its own spin on those things, but I thought its influences were very apparent, and sometimes that's a good thing, but this time I'm not totally sure that it worked. The main actress, overall, I thought she did a pretty good job, but a few times I think that she kind of overdid it, because she plays a very tense character, and she did a good job, but I think she was given just a little bit too much room to play around with it. But either way, didn't dislike her, but I thought the director should have just kind of like reeled it in a little bit more and just made it a slightly tighter performance. And the last problem is that this movie really did raise way more questions than it answered. And I don't mind a little bit of mystery. Like, any of you who follow me know that I fucking love movies like Blade Runner or like The Fountain, shit like that. But if you know almost nothing about the scenario, then it's kind of hard for you to give a shit because there's no relatability there. It's like I was trying to eat an entire meal, but this movie only gave me an appetizer. The appetizer was delicious, but I just feel like there could have been a little bit more to it, and I would have cared about it a little bit more. But overall, despite all the massive flaws that I found in the movie, I'm gonna give it a 6.0 out of 10. And I'm also going to highly recommend that everybody watch it, because this is one of those movies that's not gonna hit everybody quite the same. Because like I said, I really respect the attempt that this movie made, and the editing scares was like something that I'm not really too familiar with. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but this is definitely not a bad movie. I just feel like it didn't really quite explore all of its potential. But anyway, guys, those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Have you seen this movie? Have you even heard of it? Hop in the comments. Let me know what's up. And if you like this review, give me a like, subscribe, to all that other bullshit, and I will catch you guys later.